What's going on, everybody? Zach Haydorn here with Brass Ring Media. Special WrestleMania Weekend Report edition of the Brass Ring Media podcast. Just got back to the hotel room. WrestleMania Saturday, WrestleMania Night 1 is in the can. And Cody Rhodes does not have the momentum, I'd say, going into Night 2 and his big Universal Championship match tomorrow night against Roman Reigns. He gets pinned in the main event by The Rock after a rock bottom and quite a bit of shenanigans, I guess. Well, not really shenanigans, but bells and whistles. How about that? That's probably the better way to put it. Man, it was a spectacle. It was a spectacle, for sure. Like, it didn't have much in the ring by the way of, like, mat wrestling or, you know, just like in-ring wrestling. It had a lot of stuff outside of the ring. It had table spots. They battled up the ramp. They battled into the crowd. But, I mean, did you expect anything else, though? You know, I mean, that's pretty much how this match had to go in almost every way. I mean, The Rock can't have, like, a, you know, quote-unquote normal wrestling match. I mean, and nor does he want to. I don't think he wants to be the guy taking, like, flat back bump after flat back bump over and over and over again. But what he does well is spectacle. And this certainly delivered in that regard. And it also delivered from a storyline perspective. I mean, look, like, I know you could easily convince yourself that, hey, Cody's going to win tonight with Seth and, you know, go into Sunday night with a clean slate and him against Roman one-on-one. But that's not really the story they've been telling. I mean, this has been about the deck getting stacked against Cody and him having to overcome. So it makes sense to have the finish tonight go the way that it did, with Cody getting beat, bloodline rules tomorrow, and we'll see. We'll see if Cody can overcome the odds and win that world title. But I think the finish here really was necessary for that story to play out. Plus, you know, they still have a big match brewing if they want it, between Cody and The Rock, one-on-one down the road. You know, I mean, imagine saying that 2 years ago, right? But, you know, they've had a long kind of story arc here, and if they've been essentially feuding for this tag match, and so if Cody wins the world title from The Rock tomorrow, or from Roman Reigns tomorrow night, you know, who's to say they can't match up at SummerSlam or next year's WrestleMania, something to that effect. I mean, it makes sense now that The Rock has that win over him. So not surprised by the finish itself. The match, it was long. I mean, it was overly long. The entrances alone took over 15 minutes. So they could have cut back, no question about it. But they wanted this match to be, you know, it was a little bit self-indulgent because it's The Rock, and they wanted it to be the biggest tag match in WrestleMania history. So how do we do that? Well, I mean, they pulled out all the stops, and they made it a marathon. So I would have cut back. I mean, you could have cut back on half this match, for sure. And it still would have been a spectacle, and it still would have been fine for what it was. It still would have landed in the same place. But everybody walking out of that stadium would be less tired, less cold. And I don't think you would have lost anything in terms of having, you know, the greatest tag team match in WrestleMania history either. So, but, you know, a little minor detail. I will say this. The crowd was in on the match. I'm hearing from some folks on social media that it didn't necessarily come across that way on television. You know, I'm interested to watch that back because from where I was sitting, and I kind of had like a bird's eye view of the whole stadium, they seemed loud to me. I mean, they bit on the moments that they wanted them to, which is the rock bottom through the table, the people's elbow, the finish, and then Roman Reigns hitting the spear on The Rock on accident. Like, they were there for that. I'd say Cody, you know, was like 85% cheered at the beginning and pretty much universally cheered by the end. Status quo these days for him when dealing with The Rock. I mean, The Rock is just going to get that big star reaction. Like, that's just something that's going to happen. And, he got one here tonight, and then they pivoted on it, and they were able to pivot the audience in the match. So yeah, I think it delivered what it needed to kind of be chapter one of the WrestleMania main event story this year. Man, as far as the other matches go, thumbs up, thumbs in the middle, I think, like, overall. And then thumbs down for one match that I expected more from, for sure. First of all, thumbs up, Sami Zayn and Gunther. Man, what a match. I mean, nobody can have that match better than Sami Zayn. Well, maybe Bryan Danielson. Maybe he's the only one that can have one better. But Sami Zayn plays the underdog perfectly. I mean, every time. And I think him and Gunther really had a good Intercontinental title match. Sami Zayn wins the Intercontinental title. It frees up Gunther to do other things. Title stays elevated. That was the goal, and that's the benefit for putting it on Sami instead of some kind of up and coming talent. Like, this signals to the audience that, hey, this title still means something. It still matters. And I also don't think Gunther loses a ton losing to Sami Zayn, because Sami's such a beloved figure, and now Gunther can go up the card. Maybe he can wrestle Cody. Maybe he can wrestle Seth for the world title. I mean, CM Punk is out there. Like, there's just a whole multitude of opportunities for Gunther now that he doesn't have the IC title. And man, what a journey that's been. He's really done all he can and more to elevate that title. It's in a much, infinitely better position today than it was when he won it way back when. So, that's a title now they can count on, and I think they can still do that with Sami here. But I love that match. A match I didn't love was Jimmy Uso versus Jey Uso. Like, what happened there? Like, what a bizarre match. Like, it just seemed to just sputter in place and just never kind of got out of first gear even. And then they tried to kind of make it this emotional roller coaster, and it just wasn't one at that point. I don't know if it's that the people didn't want to see them wrestle, or they didn't put enough. I mean, I know they didn't put enough juice into the match before in terms of a build. They left a lot of money on the table. We talked about that during our WrestleMania preview show earlier this week. And like, I think you're sitting there watching this match, you're going, man, yeah, they needed some more here. So that was a bizarre one, and the audience never clicked with that. I don't know if people want to see those two fight each other. It's better in the end that they're on the same side, and I think that we kind of saw that come to fruition during this match. Really bizarre match. Other than that, the atmosphere inside the building was consistent. I'd say nothing like overly crazy in terms of reactions, but they certainly weren't down at any point throughout the show either. Even some of like the slower matches, the audience was there. I thought they were consistently reacting to things. I thought the cold impacted the audience. Like, people were cold in the end, and they flashed up on the screen 55 degrees. Come on, WWE. There's no way it was 55 degrees out there, maybe without the wind, but the wind was intense, especially up where I was. Like I said, I had that bird's eye view, and the wind was the real deal. And I mean, even now you can kind of see it like on my face, like a little bit of wind burn. People were cold, and I think that had them, sitting on their hands and trying to stay warm and not really they weren't partying, in a beautiful summer day. They were like hunkering down and trying to keep warm. And look, if I'm WWE, I'm taking that into consideration. Like, why should it's one thing if football fans are out there, watching their team play. It's football season. Hey, that's what has to happen. That's where they play, and so be it. WrestleMania can go wherever it wants. I would rethink going to cold weather-ish markets in April, because you get nights like tonight, which, yes, it's not snowing, but it still was really, really cold. And I think the warmer climate or something indoors, people react better. They're happier. They're not drinking to stay warm. They were drinking to party. So just my tip to you, WWE, my tip to you. Lincoln Financial Field is a pretty cool stadium. It felt old to me, but it also just had a cool vibe to it too. Easy to get around. The people there were great. They had enough merch. Tony Khan. I mean, that place is stocked with merch. Everywhere you turn, there's a merch line with merch. Like, it was wild. And the lines were full again. It's like WWE Superstore 2.0. But hey, that's what you do. I mean, and people were dropping massive coin. You could just see it, like people walking out of the walking out of their line with just bags of merch and toys and whatever, belts, all sorts of different things. But I liked Lincoln Financial Stadium. It was a cool stadium. Tomorrow's supposed to be warmer. Tomorrow's supposed to be a little bit warmer here in Philadelphia, so we may get lucky, and maybe it actually is 55 tomorrow once the bell rings for WrestleMania. I doubt it, but maybe. That's it for tonight, folks, on this WrestleMania Weekend Report. We will be putting out a podcast, a review show tomorrow on the member side of things. If you want to become a member here at Brass Ring Media, we'd love to have you. Patreon.com/Brass Ring Media. You get a weekly member-only podcast. You get access to all of our pay-per-view and PLE review shows, including tomorrow for Night 1 of WrestleMania, and Monday for Night 2 of WrestleMania, and everything else that's WWE, AEW, or other big shows. Our members get all of our review shows as part of their membership. You also get full access to our Substack newsletter, which is a daily newsletter we update with news and feature stories and show reviews. I'll have my Brass Ring column for WrestleMania that will rate all the matches on the shows. That'll be going up. Full access to that. All the paid articles, all of the free articles as well. And also, as a member, you get access to the Discord community, which is my favorite perk of membership, is you get to hang out with all the other members and talk wrestling, talk sports, talk news, talk TV, whatever you guys want to talk about, you can talk about. And they do in the Discord community, so you have full access to that. It's patreon.com/Brass Ring Media. Hopefully you check us out. We will do all we can to earn your business and keep it. And I think we provide a lot of value. So give it a go. Give it a go. Give it a try. Now is a perfect time to do that. Cool. I'll catch you guys later. Thanks so much once again. For Zach Haydorn, signing off in Philadelphia. See ya.